Hi, Temple Solel community. Wow, the weather is finally cooler in the mornings. We know fall is here. The moon has been so full and bright the last few nights. It is clearly time for Sukkot. Sukkot is described as Zman Simchatenu, the time of rejoicing. It's a holiday of joy. Temple is going to make its sukkah in the courtyard available. If people want to come and spend time in it, you can sign up to do that. Unfortunately, of course, we can't really dwell together in the sukkah this year. But I have another idea of how we might observe the holiday, which is to spend some time outside appreciating God's amazing world. We can mindfully do this as a sukkah substitute. After all, the whole world is really God's sukkah. So it's a good time for us to feel the gratitude to God for nature, take in some of the crisp air, take some walks. This sense of appreciating nature is a big focus of this holiday. So I hope you'll join me in spending some time outside in God's sukkah this week. Another focus is on the ingathering of our blessings. Sukkot is a harvest holiday, so people would look at all the harvest they had brought in that would surround them in their sukkah. The equivalent for us is to think about what we are proud of. What are we reaping the rewards of? So I hope you'll take some time to think about your accomplishments. On Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we've thought about how we need to grow, and now we get to balance that with thanking God and being proud ourselves for the successes in our lives. So please take some time for that as well. And on that front, I want to express my gratitude to all of you. Thank you for your support of me in these first 3 months that I've been here. I feel very grateful to be getting to know each of you. And I want you to know I'm thinking of you as being in my virtual sukkah at this time. So Hag Sameach, have a wonderful Sukkot.
Yeah. Thank you, Rabbi Steele and cantorial soloist Todd Herzog. Just wonderful to be together. And yes, after Yom Kippur, a little bit of a sigh of relief, I must say. And Rabbi Steele, as you're talking about getting outside and the abundance of ingathering, together with that as well, which is part of what being in the sukkah is, whether you are able to do that in real time or virtually, is the feeling of vulnerability that this holiday wants us to actually embrace. And I'd like to share a reading by the author and poet that many of you know I quite love, David White, specifically on vulnerability. Vulnerability is not a weakness, a passing indisposition, or something we can arrange to do without. Vulnerability is not a choice. Vulnerability is the underlying, ever-present, and abiding undercurrent of our natural state. To run from vulnerability is to run from the essence of our nature. The attempt to be invulnerable is the vain attempt to become something we are not, and most especially to close off our understanding of the grief of others. More seriously, in refusing our vulnerability, we refuse the help needed at every turn of our existence and immobilize the essential title and conversational foundation of our identity. To have a temporary, isolated sense of power over all events and circumstances is a lovely, illusionary privilege, and perhaps the prime and most beautiful constructed conceit of being human, and especially being youthfully human. But it is a privilege that must be surrendered with that same youth, with ill health, with accident, with the loss of loved ones who do not share our untouchable powers. Powers eventually and most emphatically given up as we approach our last breath. The only choice we have as we mature is how we inhabit our vulnerability, how we become larger and more courageous and more compassionate through our intimacy with disappearance. Our choice is to inhabit vulnerability as generous citizens of loss robustly and fully, or conversely, as misers and complainers, reluctant and fearful, always at the gates of existence, but never bravely and completely attempting to enter, never wanting to risk ourselves, never walking fully through the door.
Thank you, Rabbi Linder. And so early on in this process, we talked about sheltering. We were sheltering in place, and now we're kind of coming full circle, and we're finding shelter in the elements outside in Sukkot and finding that beauty. And so I shared this song early on and wanted to just kind of bring it back as a full circle moment. This is an Ufros Aleinu, and may we all find shelter amongst community and out in nature as well. Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Sukkot Shlomecha Yai lai 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 Yai lai 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 Yai lai 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 da 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 lai lai Yai lai 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 Yai lai 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 Yai lai 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 da 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 lai Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Sukkot Shlomecha.
Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach to each of you.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.